Hello dear friends and viewers, welcome to the channel. This is your host Mavry, and today we're going to be watching the first episode of Pet. So this is coming in a little bit late, I know, but the beginning of this season was actually starting at a really bad time for me. I already said in my preview video that I was going to watch this, so I'm going to stick by my words. Even though the series apparently is not doing all that well on Mal in terms of the ratings, but yeah, as we all know, a lot of time the ratings don't really mean much anyways. I certainly have a few of my some stuff that goes completely against the male rating. So I figure I just go in and have my own perspective on things. With that being said, however, this was a series where even from the very beginning, I was kind of skeptical about. I watched all the trailers, and to be honest, I still didn't know what the hell was actually going on. It seemed to be some kind of psychedelic trip or something. Not really sure like what exactly it's trying to convey, and the synopsis is honestly not that much helpful either. Now, there's three reasons why I'm giving this a chance. Number one would be the director, Aomori Takahiro. He's made lots of great hits, such as Bacano, such as Durarara series, and also I believe one of them is one that I'm not as familiar with, Natsume Yujincho, something like that. Apparently, that's also a great series as well. So it's a pretty proven director, right? And working alongside him is longtime series composer Murai Sadayuki, who has worked with the director on all the aforementioned series as well, and he also made Genie Taisan, which is one of my guilty pleasures actually. Although again, apparently nobody on Mal likes it. So it's got these two things going for it in terms of the staff, and then one final deciding factor is actually the opening theme. It's being composed by TK from the band Rin Toshite Shigure, which is a great band, by the way. I haven't heard of TK's solo works yet, but he is the main composer for the band, so it's probably going to be great, right? So with that in mind, I decided to at least check a few of the episodes out. And if you guys are new here, I do like to mention that I'm not just a reactor. I do consider myself more of a reviewer as well. So be sure to stay till the very end to watch my thoughts, listen to my thoughts on the episode, and potentially, a discussion, informal, impromptu discussion session, right? And they will all be timestamped below for your convenience. So, without further ado, let us get into the episode. Alright, beginning in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh. Being made by, or being licensed by you guys again. What was it? Twin Engine? Twin Peak? Something like that? So that's why they have the same motorcycle opening animation. Speaking of animation, like one thing that made me really... Okay, hold that thought. Is he having an affair? Yeah, affairs. Oh. What the F? What in the world is going on right now? And I guess he's watching Doraemon on TV. Alright, so obviously this series is a little bit mental. Look at that knockoff Doraemon on the television. What? So is this like a series talking about mentally retarded people? Or actually, what's the politically correct way to call them nowadays? Special needs? Something like that? The everywhere door. Which is Doraemon, famous door from Doraemon. Okay, so is this just purely, metaphorically or what? Like, I don't quite know if this is some sort of, supernatural or magic kind of series, or is this just literally all a metaphor of, these children or people who are lost within their own minds. Peaks and valleys. Okay. Hey, here's the opening theme. Alright, I'm gonna have to mute this, but I can already hear the signature kind of sounds. And yeah, I recall seeing this goldfish many times in the trailer. If there was any composer that That's suited for, you know, these kind of psychedelic series. It's gotta be TK. Alright. The Crushers.
なんすかさ、将来は二人で店やんのってどうよ。キャンプみたいで楽しいじゃん。ここみたいなバスへの飲み屋でさ。バスへで悪かったな。じゃ、店長は俺がやるね。なんで？じゃあいいよ、俺会長やるから。見ろよ、花火だぞ。水花火だ。何やってんだよバカ野郎。びしょ濡れじゃねえかよ。パラソル片してから水まけって言っただろ。そんなに遠くで怒鳴ったって怖くねえよーって。おい、聞こえたぞヒロキ。ケンジさんすごい。地獄耳だ。ったく濡れたまましまうとカビちまう。
うん。
おい、着替えてこいよお前ら。なんでだよ、乾くぜ。うちの客層変える気か。そっち系じゃねえんだから乳首すかしてうろつくなよ。どこ触ってんだよエロ親父。
Alright.
セクハラだからな。うっせえよ。おい、あいつら2階に入ってったぞ。横田の親戚か。ああ、横田なら出て行きましたよ。へえ。なんかいきなりバリー行くって言い出しやがって、2、3年は帰らないって言うから、2階は他のやつに貸しちゃうことにしたんですよ。何年も一緒にやってきたっていうのに。ま、これで店のことを口うるさく言われないと思うと、せいせいしますけどね。にしては随分と寂しそうだな。いや、喧嘩する相手がいないんで、退屈してるだけですよ。でもま、生きのいいバカが2人来たんで、店の方でも働かせて。ああ、俺今禁煙中なんで。おいおい、まさか俺の仕事まで奴らに手伝わすつもりじゃないだろうな。まさか、桂木さんの仕事は。
What work?
それを聞けて安心したよ。早速だがケンジ、今自分のワゴンのキー持ってきてるか。ああ、持ってますよ。ちょっとの間車を交換だ。行き先は今夜連絡する。現場にはお前のワゴンを止めておくから、物が見つかったらこの車のトランクに入れてそのスペアキーを置いて帰れ。あとは分かってるよな。余計な詮索はなしでしょ。大丈夫。なんせ俺は親友がなんでバリかさえ詮索しなかった男ですからね。
Obviously to run from the 40s or something. So they're definitely doing something illegal here, right? He's probably like the driver. Or sorry, not the driver, the delivery, yeah. What was that series, that movie series where, you know, uh definitely deliver things. There's it's pretty famous. It's a series where of movies where, you know, a driver always delivers his packages, no questions asked. Oh, he forgot to the keys.
桂木さん、ないですよ、スペアキー。ああ、暑いよ。誰かいるよ。
Is he gonna get killed? Yeah, he's gonna overhear something.
まさか警察じゃねえだろうな。早くしろよ。そろそろ日の出だぞ。よかった、桂木さんだ。ん、どうかしたんですか。いや、気のせいだ。なんでだ。お前、バリじゃなかったのかよ、横田。
Did he turn into...
何キロで走ってるの。150キロ。おいおい、何の真似だよ、横田。じゃあ今度はお空飛びに行こうか。来た
Do they like what? Gonna drive off the cliff or something? Yep. But why though?
本当に覚えてないのか？偽札回収した時一緒にあれを見ただろ。何のことだ？偽札？なんだこれ。
Oh, they're using them as like experiments, human experiments, something like that, on the mind.
スペアキーはどうしたんだ？はい、聞いてるのか？車のキーだよ。置いておく約束だろ。
Gotta stay calm.
忘れた？しょうがねえやつだな。じゃあこうしよう。今からいつもの公園で待ち。
Oh wait, did he see? Did he see the van? I didn't quite catch that, whether he saw the van or not.
女子高生の靴下みたいにムンムンしててよ。今回のギャラだ。てめえのケツでも吹きやがれ。なんだよ、愛想ねえな。キーは安全な場所に隠してきたぜ。俺に何かあったらおまわりのところに届くことになってる。笑うとこじゃねえだろうがよ。ついこの間同じことを言ったやつがいたと思ってな。もっともそいつはハッタリじゃなく本当におまわりに届けちまったんだけどよ。横田のやつ余計な仕事を増やしやがって。ユーモアのセンスのねえやつとは仕事したくないもんだな。人殺しめ。お前の感想なんかよりもな、こっちはキーをいただきたいんだよ。持ってきてんだろ。
What's so?
車ごとダイブするなんて、あいつ絶対。
What's so important about that key?
てめえら、横田に何をしたんだよ。お前の禁煙もハッタリだな。
What?
本当はすごく吸いたいんだろ。丸見えなんだよ。
Ooh. Okay, so there is a little case of the supernatural.
情報を返してもらうだけだな。
It's not just entirely a metaphor.
潰し屋を呼んだからな。せいぜい気をつけろ。潰し屋。へえ、香織さんちってヨット持ってんですか。すごいですね。え、いつですか。おいなんだよその顔は。何が香織ちゃんだよ。そいつのせいで長官来るまで働かされてんだぞ。貴重な客だろ。大人の話なんだから未成年は口出しすんなよな。未成年って言うな。だって本当だろ。朝っぱらからちくり合ってんじゃねえよ。喧嘩だぜ。喧嘩もだよ。つうか勝手に人んち入ってくんなよ。お前ら今日から下の店店長やってくれないか。
Now he's leaving?
お前ら店
That's kind of funny.
こうなったら逃げるが勝ちだ。上の連中偽札と一緒にコンクリート人間まで沈めてやがって。見ちゃうだろうがよ。横田もケンジも二人とも真っ青な顔して上がってくるしよ。それを連中ときたら簡単なもんだよ。見なかったことにしてやってくださいの一言で済ますんだからな。急に言われたって困るんだよ。おかげで横田には見なかったふりされちまうしよ。
That's his koa.
だけ見なかったことになってりゃ、そりゃ横田だって何事だこりゃってなっちまうだろうが。 偽札の一枚でも抜いておこうって気にもならない。
まあ、桂木さんはイメージないのによくやってるなと思いますよ。
Image.
言いたいことがあるんならはっきり言えよな。
家賃だけ入金しといてくれりゃ、儲けた分は全部お前らのもんでいいからよ。やるやるやる。店の家賃はいくらですか？着いたら詳しく連絡するよ。人に聞かれたらちゃんとバリだって言っとけよな。そうして俺はロスだ。バリのふりしてロスだよ。
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say he's probably not going to be able to go to escape this.
落ちてた。わざわざ3階に届けてやったのにあんたいねえし。なんだ、壊れてなかったのかよ。かおりちゃんだ。もしもし。すみませんでした。なんかスマホ調子悪くて。あ、切れた。貸してみ、見てやるよ。見るって直せるの？どうかしたんですか？すごい汗ですよ。
Wait, what?
変って。
What?
そういう趣味かよ。電話直すのは趣味じゃねえよ。大丈夫ですか？
Are you seeing hallucinations now?
なんなんだよ。具合悪そうですよ。だから
He's losing his mind. I think he's a goner.
あったまいて。ちょっと水もらうな。頭痛か？頭痛にはこれが一番だぞ。おい！
What?
なんだよこれ。俺はな、禁煙に決めたんだよ。
He's going to.
バカにするー！何してんだよ。危ねえだろ。おかしいぜあんた。そうか。桂木だ。あいつが俺に何かしたんだ。また変なこと言ってるぜ。違うんだ、聞け。人間の頭の中をいじくり回せるやつがいるんだよ。奴ら人間を思い通りに動かせ。
Oh, hey, he's actually quite smart.
現に横田が飛んでったんだ。本当だって信じろよ。この錯乱状態の俺が証拠だろ。ああ、本当だな。まさかお前らが潰し屋？なんかおかしいなとは思ってたんですよね。いきなりバリに行くとか言って妙な感じでしたよ。しかしまあ、よりによって殺人ってな。
No,
まあ、横田ならいつそうなって
just like that?
あいつ昔から自暴自棄なやつでしたからね。まともな死に方はしないだろうとは思ってましたよ。
And he didn't turn crazy.
やつだよな、横田は。えらい迷惑だったんだろう。
そうですよ。こっちまで取り調べされちゃいましたしね。あ、でも安心してくださいよ。桂木さんの仕事の件は何も喋っちゃいないですからね。
その点ならみじんも心配してねえよ。
あ、来たかお前ら。
なんだ、検事の親戚かなんかか？
違いますよ、桂木さん。こいつらに横田の部屋貸してやってたんですよ。荷物の整理は済んだのか？ええ、家具もあったものを使わせてもらっていたし、お世話になりました。まあ普通殺人犯の部屋には住みたかねえよな。
Oh, they finished their job, so they're all leaving. Okay.
ちゃんとバイト代払ってやるんだから勘弁しろよな。いらないよ。え？あんたのタバコ代にしなよ。え？マジ？ロッキー。じゃあさよなら。
Wow. Okay. And it ends just like that. This isn't half as bad as I thought it would be. All right, hold on a second. Let's listen. Let's take a look at the ending song, which is actually also made by a great band as well, Mimai Siren. By the way, I just realized. I think that younger. Yeah, Mimai Siren. Oh, it's actually arranged by TK. Okay. Won't forget. Alright. Okay, I guess this is one of those ending songs that's ending animations that's not really going to tell you much about the story. Alrighty. Okay, see you guys after this. Alrighty, that was the first episode of Pet, and honestly, it's actually not as bad as I was thinking it was. I was actually quite pleasantly surprised at the end there with the twist there. So let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, one thing to note is I guess I was kind of spoiled by the cast list because apparently, the person who was next to Katsuragi, the one who's calling the shots in this episode, the one who's always smoking. If you guys recall, there's this other dude who is beside him, the one who poured the coke out and whatnot. So apparently he is Sataru. The same person, the same kid that we saw at the very beginning of the episode. So from the very beginning to the middle of it, after the opening song, I guess something like 10 years had passed or something like that. And so the kid there, who he was eventually recruited into this organization of some sort, and turned out to be how he is today, right, working for this organization. And so this is a case where these are people who have supernatural powers that can get into people's minds. It's not. I was actually thinking that perhaps this is going to be some sort of series that's trying to make a statement on special needs children or something like that, trying to get all philosophical in a sense or whatnot. But no, it seems to be more of a series where they have supernatural powers and then they can get into people's minds, and so the psychedelic stuff comes within that, right? As we can see, Kenji gradually losing his mind once he was affected by users of these powers. And also, I mean, it could still also be some sort of metaphor for these special needs children or whatnot. Especially at the very beginning, I totally thought that was some sort of autistic kid or something like that. Is that going to be the case or not? I don't know, but I guess will just continue watching and find out, right? And so the actual, the main story of this episode is pretty straightforward. So Kenji and Yokota, these two are good friends, and I guess they do some side work, doing dirty jobs, doing the dirty work for these sort of criminal organizations, like getting rid of some specific evidence or retrieving some specific stuff, that kind of thing. And apparently, through some sort of by some accident, they happen to know of some things that they shouldn't have known of, and so Katsuragi was sent in to dispose of them, or basically alter their memory so that they don't remember. But apparently he botched the job or something, and so the rest of the crew had to come in and clean it up once again. By at the very end there, completely altering Kenji's memories there. And honestly, it didn't nearly get as gory or violent as I thought, considering that at the very beginning, with how this episode opened, with the mother literally like cutting herself and getting, really creepy with all the psychedelic stuff and whatnot. I thought this was going to be a case where, you know, you, the way that they lose their mind is by, seeing, like, not actually having their arms chopped off or something, but believing in their mind that they are under bodily harm or something like that. But apparently it wasn't the case. And all things considered, the ending was quite tame, right? Kenji survived at the very end. He's just simply had his memories rewritten, and so he doesn't remember any of. He remembers different events than what happened, but hey, he's still alive and kicking, right? And he's still got his bar, he's still living a good life. That would be already a very good ending for him, I should say. Yeah. And like I was mentioning, I did like the twist in the end where Hiroki and Tsukasa were actually undercover all along, right? They were working with this organization, staying beside Kenji to, I guess, keep an eye on him, and also making sure that they can control him whenever they need to, right? And the reason I like this so much is because it actually means that there's this subtlety to this, right? It's not just a case where they brute force and they can just use their powers at will to instantly fix any job. They actually have to plan these things out, right? And so that brings another layer of complexity to the series and to the plot itself, to the events itself, and it's not going to just turn into some shonen supernatural kind of thing, right? So I did like that, and that's why, to me, having that really boosted my opinion of this series a lot more, even if this is just the first episode, right? And so, in terms of the supernatural powers, we'll probably learn more in the next episode. One thing that they've already been mentioning is this sort of ability of imaging, I guess, and I think what it means is if these power users are able to make specific manifestations of specific objects, right? So in the case of Satoru, he was able to use this image to create the everywhere door, right? Whereas, with his conversation with Katsuragi, it seems that not all power users can use this. Katsuragi seems to be a power user that cannot, that does not have this power of imaging, right? What I think the distinction is that even though Katsuragi can get into people's minds and make them, for instance, suddenly blank out or something like that, but what Satoru can actually do is make his creations real. Maybe it's that case, because when the scene with him pouring out the cola, right, it turned into complete ash, right? So it seems that what he has is the ability of imaging means that he can actually manifest his his thoughts, his creations into the real world. I think that's what it's trying to get at here, and we'll probably find out more in the next episode. So there we go. This was Pet episode 1. It's interesting so far, I would say. I still don't completely like the art style, if I'm totally honest, and the sound design. I like the music, of course, the opening and the ending. The sound used throughout is a bit meh for me. I don't like. It's really trying to make you uncomfortable. I think that's what they're trying to go for, but it doesn't really enhance the enjoyment of the series. Let's just say. So, but at the very least, the plot itself and the setting itself is quite interesting. So, there we go. I'll be watching a few more episodes and then seeing if I will actually make a series out of this. So, hope to see you guys again, and bye-bye.